Let the ego Toastmaster World.
What is this?
Ego.
What does this read? Ego, right? Every one of us can read. And what does this mean? What does this word ego mean? Any idea? Exactly. It means a lot of things. It has a lot of different contexts. But today, I'll be referring to ego as the feeling of being superior than others. As the feeling of feeling superior and the others being inferior than what your present state is. For example, only I can do it. Only I. This is ego. I can do it. This is confidence. This is a very fine line that differentiates the both two. And the feeling of being supreme than the others makes you miserable in the long run. It becomes the biggest enemy of your growth. Fascinating, right? How can just a 3-letter word cause so much havoc in your life, huh? Well, good evening, Toastmasters and dear guests.
Good evening.
Just to make it more clear, let me tell you a story about a very famous scientist. So this scientist was a very learned scientist. He had tons and tons of knowledge in his band. While doing his research, he found out the secret formula to produce perfect reproductions of himself. He found out how he can make exact replicas of himself without anyone even questioning it. And again, while he was doing his research and was going through his notes, he found out that the angel of death was hovering above looking for him. And in order to stay immortal, he decided that he'll make 12 replicas of him. And as a group, they'll go together to the angel of death. So when the angel of death came knocking into his laboratory, he saw her dead. She saw him dead into the eyes. But since there were 13 of them, she couldn't figure out who the person is. The work was so perfect, so meticulously done, it was impossible to differentiate who the real scientist is. Confused and bewildered, she decided to leave. But then again, she remembered that the humans are the same. She knew how the human psyche works and came up with a clever plan to find the real scientist. She said to the scientist, "Mr. Scientist," she didn't fumble, but she said, "Mr. Scientist, what a great job you have done. The projections are beautiful, the replicas are amazing. However, I can find a single small flaw in your replicas, a single tiny mistake in your replicas." Enraged by this fact, all angry and furious, the scientist came out and said, "Impossible! How can this be? Where is the flaw? Show me the flaw." And to this, the angel of death replied, "Right here. You are the flaw. Come along to the heavens with me." And hence, she spotted who the real scientist is. Do you realize what the problem of the scientist was in this story? Ego. Because of his pride, he lost his life. Knowledge is a very powerful tool, my friends. It makes you climb up the ladder of success pretty easily. But the 3-letter word called ego can knock you off that perch in an instant. Because of the feeling of being superior than others, he thought that his work is unparalleled to any of his peers. He started to attach the results he got to his ego, to what he was doing back then. And when someone questioned the results he got flustered, he got crazy, and as a result, his ego got hurt. And that made him lose his life. And now if we look at it, don't we also do the same thing? Sitting in this room, we continue to attach the results we got and we are going to get to our ego. If something doesn't go our way, we feel flustered. If something in the past didn't go our way, we feel disappointed and depressed. And this disease, this problem of ours causes anxiety, depression, and whatnot. If I ask many of you what the sources of your anxiety is in life, then they'll say the future projections. What are we going to do? What if, what not? This urge to control everything that we possibly do must be controlled by us. Your ego will tell you that once everything falls into place, you will be happy and find peace. Your ego will tell you that you are the supreme being, there's no one better than you, not a better speaker than Varun over here, right? But what your ego won't tell you, that it is the biggest enemy to your growth. Well, now this is a humongous problem, right? Ego is terrible. You must eliminate ego. How do we do that? You do that by finding peace within yourself, by making peace with yourself. Wow, Varun, wow. Finding peace, wow, wow. We are trying to do this since ages. How can we find peace? How can we be at peace? 2 simple tricks for you guys. 2 simple. Not too simple, but 2 simple tricks that can help you do that. The first one is living in the present. The second one is being patient. Let's talk about living in the present first. Sitting on my study table, I often wonder that what if I don't get that job? Did I mistake by not asking Shreya out? All these ideas just bounce off my head, and my mind keeps on oscillating between the past and the future. It keeps on swinging and swinging, and I bet a lot of us also go through the same problem. How can you enjoy the present when you're constantly thinking about the past which has happened and the future which is a mystery? You cannot. What you can do is enjoy the present. Live in the moment. Right now, standing over here on the stage, I'm loving it, I'm living it, I'm enjoying it. When I go home with a peaceful mind. I can have a peaceful sleep because I know that I gave it all. And with a peaceful mind, I'll have a better day tomorrow. Maybe cut some kites and win the battle of the skies. Now let's talk about the second problem, that is being patient. How many of us think that had the scientist taken a different approach in the story, had he assessed the situation carefully, he would have survived? How many of us think that? Every one of us. We know that had he been more cautious about what the angel was up to, he would have done better. This sudden urge of emotions that comes inside us to make us take impromptu decisions on the spot, is our biggest challenger. So what we must do is control this inhibition. I challenge you all to listen to the speakers that you talk with, and after 2 seconds, reply carefully. That will not only make you a better speaker, but also a patient one. Let this E from your ego go. Let this ego go to have better communications, better interpersonal relationships, and better surroundings that you find in the world. And now, please allow me to go from the stage. Toastmaster English.